Here we presents the top 5 best cameras for YouTube. Starting at number 5. Panasonic LUMIX GH5s. If the GH5s was solely a video camera, we wouldn't be reviewing it. In fact, it's a fascinating crossover camera of a type that could become increasingly common as the boundaries between the stills and video markets continue to blur, though its video-first approach at the expense of stills makes it hard to recommend as one of the best 4K cameras. The GH5s can also shoot continuously at 12 fps in AFS mode, or 8 fps with continuous autofocus. That's if you're happy with 12-bit RAW files, though. If you want the extra tonal depth of 14-bit RAW files, which is generally what high-end stills cameras shoot, the frame rate drops to 11 fps with single-shot AF, or 7 fps with continuous autofocus. To a stills photographer, this camera's video specifications might not look particularly remarkable. It shoots 4K video, but so do many others, and it also shoots the slightly wider Cinema 4K format, which is a ratio of 17:9, rather than 16:9. It can, however, shoot both at 50p 60p frame rates, which is altogether less common, and requires serious processing power, which inevitably comes at a price. Panasonic's own LUMIX GH5 can shoot 4K UHD video at 50p 60p, but not in the wider Cinema 4K aspect ratio. As a 4K video camera, the GH5s is extremely powerful and extremely good value. Our real-world tests indicate its high ISO performance still lags slightly behind its bigger sensor rivals, but professionals will love its high frame rates, 10-bit 422 recording and high bit rates. It's not all good, though. The lack of sensor-based stabilization will put many people off, and the 10MP resolution is just too low for it to be a convincing stills camera. For more information and price, check out the product links in description. At number 4. Canon XA50. The XA55 is a mid-size camcorder that has a full complement of technical features including SDI out, twin XLR audio inputs, built-in North Dakota filtering, a single ring that can switch between zoom and focus, twin South Dakota card storage, and of course, the usual USB, HDMI, headphone, external power and 3.5mm mic port. The handle also contains a supplementary tail-wide rocker switch, record on-off lock button and a hot shoe, as well as provision for bolting a mic holder to the right-hand side. The viewfinder has pull-out and tilt, and the flip-out LCD screen is touch-capable, and has a couple of FN buttons for manual autofocus, plus powered is. A further programmable FN button is on the left front of the camera. The lens is 15x optical zoom, 8.3 124, 5mm, 1.2, 8.4, with a 50mm thread, and as you'd suspect is a 4K lens. A one-sensor complements the imagery gathering system in concert with Canon's tried and tested digic processing engine. On the trip, I took extensive video and stills of turquoise ocean, the bush surrounds, brilliant sunsets, and even the fantastic meal in the Eco Beach restaurant, testing the XA55 in light from glaring midday tropic sun to bright orange sunsets, outdoor lit areas at night, and even the night sky with no wash at all from external city town light. At around $3,600 for the full package, for the run-and-gun operator or serious enthusiast, the XA55 is a brilliant little package that, as I proved on this trip, snugs into a backpack quite happily, and even with Eco Beach's minimal 2-amp power system was easily recharged as required, albeit taking a little longer than a normal PowerPoint would do. If I had a personal choice between the Canon XA55 and something like a Sony A7, Panasonic GH5 or similar, the XA55 would be a no-brainer. As I have stated many times, I simply do not like the ergonomics of the DSLR mirrorless style cameras for video lens switchable options. Besides, halfway of my listed number 3. Canon EOS R. When it launched in 2018, the Canon EOS R was criticized for some of its puzzling limitations. However, 2 years later, with a lower price tag, some firmware improvements and a mature RF lens lineup, the EOS R is both a more compelling and more capable camera than it was at launch. Where does the Canon EOS R rank among the best Canon cameras in 2020? It squeezes more out of its 33MP sensor thanks to improved AF, producing images comparable to the mighty Canon EOS 5D Mark IV. Its cropped 4K video is a sore point next to the best 4K cameras, but it still delivers beautiful footage in both Ultra and Full HD. Sadly, the EOS R takes another, less fortunate cue from the 5D Mark IV. Its 4K video comes with the same 1.7x crop, which affects depth of field and means that your RF and F lenses won't be as wide. The good news is that it comes with C-Log and can record internally at 4208-bit with Rec. 709 color space, and externally at 42210-bit with Rec. 2020, though it maxes out at 4K 30 FPS and 1080p 60 FPS. If the innards fall somewhat short of expectations, the EOS R's exterior unquestionably exceeds them. The magnesium alloy body screams quality, feeling as robust as it does fantastic to hold. As you'd expect, it's dramatically more svelte than its DSLR cousins. Where the 5D Mark IV is a thick-cut oven chip, the EOS R is a French fry. Upon launch we called the Canon EOS R capable, customizable, but compromised. 2 years later it's a much more appealing proposition, thanks to firmware improved performance and a more competitive price tag. It still suffers the same limitations, namely the lack of IBIS in the cropped 4K, though its 33MP sensor continues to make it an appealing system. However, if you don't mind losing about 6MP in resolution, we would actually recommend the Canon EOS RP as it comes with an even lower price tag for largely the same results. For more information and price, check out the product links in description. Coming in at number 2. Sony Alpha A6600. Sony's A6000 series has been a very popular line of cameras, but their earlier models didn't really attract us very much. Why? Because most of us were already DSLR owners, and back in the early days of mirrorless, there were still too many drawbacks for us as professional photographers. There was poor battery life, unreliable autofocus, and generally not the same level of responsiveness and speed that we could get from a similarly priced DSLR from 5+ years ago. Now, things have definitely changed. Sony announced the A6600 about a year ago, and it is the current top-of-the-line camera in Sony's A6X00 lineup. With this sixth camera, Sony has added an impressive battery, as well as one of the best autofocus systems of any mirrorless camera. Basically, the Sony A6600 is a great all-around camera that almost any type of photographer could find to be well-suited for their needs. It's very lightweight and compact compared to its full-frame A7 series and A9 series siblings, and of course, it's much more affordable than any current generation Sony full-frame camera. To spoil a bit of this review, the image quality and overall performance is more than good enough for me to say that, unless you're truly pushing the envelope of photography with extremely challenging conditions, the A6600 is so good that most photographers quite honestly don't really need to go out and buy a full-frame camera setup just for the image quality alone. You will want to spend a lot of time getting to know the AF system, though, because the interface for focus point control is very complex, and the best feature takes some figuring out to engage properly. Once you do get it figured out, though, you'll enjoy what is, no exaggeration, the absolute best autofocus performance of any APS-C mirrorless camera, period. For things like tracking wildlife or action sport subjects, this feature alone will make the A6600 worth the investment. All in all, the A6600 has a lot to offer, and checks all the boxes in terms of what you're probably looking for in a portable, affordable, yet highly capable digital camera system. It's good enough that, if you're not an obsessed pixel peeper, you might never want to upgrade to more expensive full-frame cameras. And number 1. Canon EOS Rebel T8i. We've been waiting to test the Canon EOS 850D since it was first announced back in February 2020. But the global pandemic meant worldwide supplies came to a grinding halt. However, while we still wrestle with weekly challenges and evolving restrictions, Canon has been able to finally release the camera. The 850D is positioned as more of an all-rounder camera for enthusiasts than a true beginner DSLR, though it's equally tempting for existing Canon users stepping up from cameras like the entry-level EOS 1300D or 800D. The 850D's body design is compact, but comes with top and rear dials for dual control of both shutter speed and aperture. As part of Canon's EOS system, you can use any F or FS lens, and you can add a speedlight flash gun for more creative lighting than the built-in pop-up flash can provide. As far as movie recording is concerned, the camera can record in Full HD at up to 60 FPS, or 4K UHD resolution at up to 25 FPS. There's also a detailed setup for time-lapse movies and automatic scene selection. To counteract the jittery shake associated with handheld movie shooting, the 850D features 5-axis movie digital IS for smooth, controlled video capture. The 850D gets a new, dedicated AF-on button at the rear that's long been a favorite on higher-spec Canon DSLRs like the EOS 90D and Canon EOS 7D Mark II, and also full-frame pro cameras like the Canon EOS 5D Mark IV. This is a small but welcome addition as it can be used for back button autofocus, leaving the shutter button just for metering when half pressing, and taking the picture when fully pressing the button. If you're looking to step up from a camera phone to explore more creative stills photography with a proper camera, the Canon EOS 850D is a lightweight, yet powerful DSLR that captures detailed, colorful images. Its improvements over the 800D are subtle though, as both have 24MP sensors, 45 cross-type AF points, 6-7 FPS burst shooting, and Wi-Fi. The 850D's headline new feature 4K video recording sounds great, but Canon is only playing catch-up with existing 4K-capable mirrorless cameras in the same sector. Plus, with up to a huge 64% crop factor and no phase detect AF available, the 850D's implementation of 4K video is nowhere near as useful as you'd hope. I have included these product link in the description. You can check out this link for more information and latest price. Thank you for watching this video. Please hit the like button, share with your friends, and be sure to subscribe.